Hi, I'm Ernie Klein, and I'm here at Gen Con to tell you what a huge influence Gary Gygax had on my life. I have a novel coming out next month from Random House Crown Publishing, and there's a main plot point that deals with the Tomb of Horrors, and written by Gary, which was a huge epic event in my childhood, playing through the Tomb of Horrors, like the module that kills everyone in Dungeons and Dragons. I think that Gary created that module actually as like an answer to people who thought they had characters that were invincible. So Gary devised a module that could kill any Dungeons and Dragons character or any party of Dungeons and Dragons characters. So I wanted to pay tribute to that in my book. But my whole childhood was influenced by Gary, and I discovered Dungeons and Dragons at I think age 11 or 12, and then it informed the whole rest of my adolescence. I have contributed some money to the Gary Gygax Memorial Statue Fund. I think you should too. If there's a statue of RoboCop in Detroit and a statue of Rocky in Philadelphia, those are both fictional characters that they've inspired people, but they don't exist. Whereas Gary is, really the influence he's had on modern pop culture cannot be exaggerated. Modern video games and definitely role-playing games, which have heavily influenced modern video games. There would be no World of Warcraft without Gary Gygax, and even the way modern cinema and movies play out, I think, influenced by Gary to a huge degree. So I would love for there to be a statue in Lake Geneva where we could go and visit and pay tribute to Gary. I had the honor of meeting Gary at Gen Con, not when it was here in Indianapolis, but back when it was in Milwaukee. And just a gracious guy, and lined up with a whole hundreds of other fans, just to have a few seconds to tell Gary what a huge influence he was on us, and just gracious to everybody, and referred to everybody as his friend. He was just an amazing guy, and I would love for there to be like a physical tribute in the world where I think it's going to be amazing, the number of gamers from around the world that will make pilgrimages to this statue to pay tribute to this guy. He was amazing. I remember I sent an email to Gary once, and he actually would answer emails from all of his fans all around the world, take time out of his life to do that. And I asked him what the E in E Gary Gygax stood for, because I was always curious about that. And he wrote back and told me that his first name was Ernie, which was my name, which I thought was the coolest thing ever, that I shared my first name with Gary Gygax. It had never been a cool name for me up until that point, because I shared it with Ernest Keebler and Ernest and Julio Gallo and Ernest Scared Stupid. But in this instance, sharing it with Gary Gygax is one of my childhood heroes, and a huge influence on me is the coolest thing ever. So thank you, Gary, and donate to the Gary Gygax Memorial Statue Fund, please. Thanks, guys.